There are a couple of experiences that you face when you're a Reiki practitioner that nobody really tells you about when you're studying in your courses. And these are some of the 5 things that happen during a Reiki session or right after a Reiki session that nobody bothered to tell you when you were training. Number 1, you might have visions. And what does it mean to receive visions? Well, it's simple. Part of the Reiki process is to ground yourself and then to connect to your client's energy so that you can sense them and bilocate with them. If it's at a distance, or if they're in person, then you just sense their energy right there in front of you. One of the things that can happen is that you'll start seeing visual images, impressions, or even start having feelings related to those impressions. So 2-part information. That can be things like focusing on their crown chakra and seeing a ton of spiders jumping out of their crown, or perhaps seeing a spear coming out of their solar plexus chakra, or a rose in their sacral chakra. All of these are experiences that I have when I'm sending Reiki to clients, and particularly when it comes to distance Reiki, because I get to focus on my inner imagery a little bit more. That'll also depend on what kind of gifts you have. Perhaps you're more clairaudient. I'm a little bit more clairvoyant in that respect. So if you're clairaudient, you might hear words associated to the chakras that you're cleansing at that particular time. Thing number 2, you might get tingles in your hands. This one is pretty basic, especially if you're channeling or moving energy. You need to be able to sense it with your body. And given that your palms have chakras in the center of them, that is a place where not only will the energy be channeled through, but you will also receive feedback. So either your hands will tingle, you will receive heat or cold in the palm of your hands, depending on the health and the organization of that particular chakra, or you might have tingles elsewhere in your body. These are all forms of feedback that you get from your spirit team, from your higher self, and from your client's energy. So use your gut, feel into those things. Let your mind come up with the answer as to what those mean. The first answer is usually the best, but if you have a nagging feeling or persistent feeling, go with that one. Thing number 3, you might experience jolts during your healing sessions. And this one is pretty common for me. It might be a jolt, or in fact, it could also be a twitch. I may be concentrating with my eyes closed, and I'll have a jolt, or it might be my whole body just kind of getting a knock. Let's say somebody invisible, like something like that running into my shoulder and just knocking me forward. What does that mean? Well, for me, that means that I have either unlocked a piece of energy, there's been a massive energy shift, but sometimes also what that can mean for me is that client's energy is being blocked and is repelling the healing. Sometimes there's a deep-seated energy blockage that is not ready to move at that time, and it can even repel. What to do in circumstances like that is to continue to work with your client, but to have them do the work. Make sure that they are open to that sort of healing, and make sure that they understand what it is that is happening in their lives that may be subconsciously blocking their own wellness and their own healing process. Thing number 4, and this one's an important one because it happens a lot to beginners. You may feel absolutely drained at the end of a session, and part of this is because as a beginner, you really want to do well, you're nervous, you have a lot of energy invested, maybe some anxiety that's creeping in and that's amping up your own energy, and so that can be sapping in a way. But part of the other reason is that rather than trusting in Reiki energy being able to be intelligent and to work for you, having the faith in your process that you need, you actually imbue your Reiki session with your own energy. And that is draining because you're giving that energy rather than being a channel through which it is simply passing through. You are meant to be the conduit, not the giver. It is absolutely possible to channel your own energy and to help somebody heal that way. The trade-off is that what is taken from you is not there to support you. And that is why Reiki is such a powerful powerful practice because you don't need to give away your energy. You act as a conduit. You are the vessel through which life force energy goes and flows and helps to rebalance their chakras, their own energy centers, clearing out their aura, all of that good stuff. And all of that not at the expense of you, so that you can continue to offer your light healing and your energy and your service to the community. By the way, if I haven't introduced myself yet, my name is Maria. I am a longtime yoga practitioner and instructor, but what's taking up a lot of my energy these days is my Reiki practice, and I would love to be able to share some of my insights and guidance with you as a light worker, as a Reiki worker, as an energy worker, somebody who is intuitive and is a natural healer, and somebody who may be dabbling in these experiences for the first time and looking for guidance. So stay on for lesson number 5, or tip number 5, which stay tuned for this one. It's a special one. Number 5, and this one is a little bit of the freaky one, but if you've been following my channel, you'll know that I have experience with the spirit world, particular visitations and hauntings and such things. And so I have noticed that when I channel Reiki, or when I am talking about Reiki or energy healing or light work or the spirit realm, I tend to invite that action tends to invite spirit manifestations, paranormal activity. So on a particular evening, I was channeling Reiki to a regular client that I have. And on that specific occasion, there was a need for a greater amount of energy. I invoked my entire spirit team, the archangels, the guides, the ancestors, the gods and goddesses that walk alongside me, the whole team, the whole shebang, because there was a lot of pain in this particular client's energy, and we wanted to move that through. Well, not a word of a lie, as I was channeling the energy, I felt a heavy presence, as though I was observing the transmission behind me. It was a Reiki distance healing. And I shooed it away. I told it was not welcome to participate in this healing unless it was here to aid, which it did not appear to be. And so it just moved off, and I continued to practice the Reiki healing session. Not a minute later does my daughter, who is sleeping in her room, start crying out, wailing in fear that she'd had a nightmare of a shark coming to eat her. Well, wouldn't you know that when I was unlocking the energy of this particular client, I saw fish coming out of her throat. And that wasn't much long after that spirit came to have a visitation. So that energy, not only did it travel through time and space, it came to my home of residence, and then it went to visit my daughter in her room, who is herself quite sensitive to this type of energy, and she has been since she was a little baby. So I did do a room cleansing when I had started the Reiki session, and I did shield my energy and that of my client. What I didn't do at the moment was to shield the entire house. It is now going to be part of my entire practice to make sure that when I am practicing my Reiki, the whole house is shielded and protected in an energetic force field, because I don't want that to keep happening to my daughter. It is not a pleasant experience, and Reiki should be and is a loving and healing energy, but sometimes its power, its light, its energetic presence can be like a beacon in the dark for others, especially dark energies, to come into focus and to see what's going on. And I don't want that to be a disturbance for my daughter. I have brought a black tourmaline crystal, which I have charged with selenite and sunlight, and now I keep it in her room. I'll continue to charge it, and that should ward off negative energies. But I will now remember that I also need to ward off energies from the whole house, protect everybody in my house from any onlookers or negative energies that would come to disrupt us or cause us harm or do anything that is not in our greatest good. So, folks, those are the 5 unspoken experiences that you might have as a Reiki practitioner. I'm sure there are others that dozens, hundreds, I don't know. But if you've had different or similar experiences while channeling Reiki or light healing as a light worker, moving energy and healing people or connecting with their energy, what have your experiences been? I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to compile a list and create these resources for practitioners and light practitioners who are just possibly starting out and who need a community and insights so that they can help navigate this crazy, wonderful, infinite world. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.